Welcome everybody to this video on arrays and referencing arrays. Today we're kind of going to look at a bunch of extra array things that I haven't talked about before. So we're going to talk about the difference in references to arrays. So basically when we can have two separate arrays that actually look at the exact same thing inside of, or the exact same array. We're going to look at how to remove an array or delete one. We are going to look at how to copy an array without using a for loop, doing it element by element. Which is a couple of different ways we're going to look at it. We're also going to look at enhanced for loops and how they're very useful with arrays. The one thing you'll have to keep in mind about them is they are read-only. This means you cannot write to the array while using them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is different references to the same array. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an int array called numArray, and I'm going to give it the values of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a second array called numArray2, and I'm going to make it so that its value is numArray. So I'm going to assign numArray to numArray2. Now if you think about how this works with integers and with strings and everything else that we've done in the past, this would just mean that it references the value, copies the exact value into the variable, and they are two completely separate variables. If I do something to one of them, it does not affect the other one. With arrays, this is not the case. These are the exact same arrays. If I change something in numArray, I will be changing something in numArray2. So let's try that. Let's look at numArray. I'm going to change index 1, so the one that has a value of 2. And I'm going to change its value to 5. Okay? So then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to print out numArray2's value in index 1. Now keep in mind, we made a numArray2 equal to numArray back here. So according to what we had known before, its values should all still be all of these. It should not have been affected by this, which means its index 1 should be 2. Now if I run this, you notice that I get 5. So this did change it, and these are these referring to the exact same array. So how can I not do that? Well, here's the one way. I can say numArray3, and I can say it's equal to numArray.clone. This will create an exact copy of the array, but they are not the same array. So its values will all be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, if I change something in one of them, it will not change it in the other. So for instance, let's say I change numArray0 at index 0, to 0. I'm going to print out numArray2's version and numArray3's version. And you'll notice that numArray2's version has been changed to 0, whereas numArray3's version is still 1. Noticing that it's a different value and was not changed. So how about let's talk about removing an array. So if I want to remove an array, what I can do is I will change it to something called a null value. A null value simply means that there is no value there. So for instance, if I want to get rid of numArray2, I'm going to change its value to null. Another way to copy without a for loop is to use the array's copy of. What you need inside of it is the array you want to copy, as well as the amount of that array you want to copy. So this is better when you want to not copy the whole array, but only part of it. So in this case, I'm going to say numArray3 is equal to arrays.copy of numArray, and I'm only going to get the first 3 elements. So unlike before, where I would have got the whole thing, I only want the first 3. Okay? Also notice I'm using the arrays keyword in front of this. In order to use this, you need to make sure that you are importing it. I've imported everything from UTIL for this video. However, you just need to import java.util.arrays in order to use the arrays class. So if I were to print this out, I'm going to use the toString method this time because I don't want to write a for loop for it. Notice once again, this uses the arrays class. We'll do arrays.toString numArray3. And after I ran it, I have 0, 5, and 3. So if you remember, we changed index 0 to 0 back here, and we changed index 1 back here to 5. So it was a 0 and 5, and then the original 3 was copied over. Remember, because I put a length in, I only got 3 of the values. I did not get all 5 values from the original array. Okay, so what else we're going to look at today is we're going to look at enhanced for loops. So what enhanced for loops are is they are a way to us to go through for loops without having to write the classic for loops. If you've ever used Python before, this is very similar to the structure in Python. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create an array here called array name. It has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to write an enhanced for loop for it. So unlike a normal for loop where I'd have to have an initialization value, a condition, and an increment step, all I need for this is the type I want to go through. You'll notice that this is something that needs to be iterable. So this means something that can be divided into something else, which means it also needs to be non-primitive. This is going to be something like arrays in which we can iterate through the entire object and actually get each value individually. Since the objects in here are integers, I'm going to put integer var name. This is the variable name we will use that it will be assigned to each time through the loop. So if I print this out, the first time through the loop, I will get the first value inside array name. It will be assigned to var name, and then I'm going to print it out. Since this runs for all values inside my array, we'll print out all the values in it, meaning I get 1 through 9. I cannot change the values of anything in var name because, once again, this is similar to what it was before when we talked about not like arrays, where if I change something in one variable, it doesn't change the other one. So if I change the value of this variable, it does not change the value inside of the array, since these are two separate variables. If I were to write this as a normal for loop, I would do int var name outside of the for loop, create a normal for loop that says I is equal to 0, I is less than array name length, I++, our standard way of going through an array with a for loop. And then I would say var name equals array name I, and that would be the same thing as this. All I would need afterwards is system.out.println var name, and this would work exactly the same way as the one up here. Also, once again, printing out 1 to 9.